and welcome back to Dicebreaker, or should we say Dungeonbreaker?
Woo!
Hi. Wow. I was hoping for a little bit more crowd noise. In fairness, you are all in hell, so I can understand why you might be feeling slightly down about things. Although, long-term fans of Dungeonbreaker will know that actually last time you kind of had a bit of a win. You're first after being condemned to Avernus by the Cathedral of the Silver Flame, because you went and you stole a giant magical chisel off some redcaps, which went surprisingly well. I'm not going to lie. If
very few things died, which I think is new for us.
Yes, it was a learning experience for all concerned, I think it's fair to say. But yeah, you, as you'll remember, you have just returned to the palace of Yinagu, one of the demon lords of hell. He was the one who put you up to this chisel business, and tomorrow he'd very much like for you to go and rob Baphomet, one of the other lords of hell. But for now, he has given you a feed. He's fed you right up, and he's shown you all to some bedrooms. Each of you sort of gets a nicely appointed sort of room. It is very plush. There are soft, downy pillows and a nice mattress and things you wouldn't normally associate with having a kip in Avernus. So, kind of, you all sort of pass the night very much aware of the fact that while you are in hell, it's a lot more comfortable than you thought. You feel like you've fallen in with good company. Farid, obviously, as a long-term friend of Yinagu, you find yourself wondering why you never accepted his invitation to stay over earlier. Because this comfy, this is very nice.
Question, in Avernus, if you normally have electric blankets to make a bed hotter, do you have like an ice sheet just under the duvet to cool you down?
What it is, it's a mystical blanket filled with ice sprites, and you activate it by way of a hammer, and you just have to smash them. It spreads the cold through the layer of chainmail, which not only acts to sort of spread out the cold that's released by the dying sprites, but to prevent you from breaking your own legs with a hammer.
I imagine that the wriggling of them sort of like squirming before they die sort of affects is like some kind of massage feature as well.
It's like putting a quarter in the magic fingers. It's great.
I think Morboss, upon seeing this, would gently tuck the blanket or fold it up even and put it to one side, and then once he wakes up in the morning, puts it back on the bed so that no one suspects a thing.
All right. Is anyone else smashing ice sprites before going to sleep?
I'm smashing and getting.
I'm used to this life.
All right. Yeah, I was going to say Mist would be like pretty happy with this whole arrangement.
Yeah,
fair enough.
How big is the room and everything in it in comparison to Tim?
I mean,
Exactly.
it's a normal sort of humanoid-sized bedroom, so pretty big.
Okay.
I'd say it probably.
So...
I mean, actually, make me a strength athletics check.
Ooh, Tim's not very good at that. Surprisingly enough, although I rolled a 19.
Okay. Tim does manage to get on the bed.
Okay, yeah, he clambers up onto the bed.
There.
And he sees how like plush it is, and he's like, "Oh, he's so comfy." And then he feels like the wriggling of the sprites and everything. He's like, "Oh, what's going on here?" And then he like pokes the blanket. Are they making a noise in there?
You hear a voice go, "Piss off!" And another one goes, "Yeah, hit us with a hammer or stop that."
Are you in there?
No, we're outside, you dimwit.
Oh, this is so exciting! I've got so many people with me tonight. Oh well, tell me your names. Tell me about yourself. You know your interests.
You hear one of them whispers to the other one. Maybe if we don't say anything, he'll sod off. And another one goes, we could just provoke him and make him hit us with a hammer. I mean, I don't know about you. I'm ready to go. All right. You speak Infernal, don't you? Yeah, everyone goes, yeah. It's like, let him have it. A tiny voice from inside the blanket starts swearing at you in Infernal.
Does Does Tim know it's swearing? Because he can't speak Infernal. He has no idea.
You can probably gather from the vehemence with which it's being delivered and the fact that it's infernal. Even though you can't understand it, you feel mortally wounded and slightly sick.
Oh my! Oh, I don't know if you're feeling this as well, my little friend. I suddenly don't feel
Good.
very
We'll
well.
do it some more if you don't sod off or hit us with an hammer. Leave us alone, or don't. Just stop doing the thing in the middle.
Tim goes, you want me to hit you
Oh
with
my
a
god,
hammer?
yes!
Well, it's certainly very unconventional, I have to say. But I mean, if you
Yes,
want me
please.
to do it, I'm
I
very
want you to
happy
do it 10 minutes ago.
Where is the hammer? It's on the
right
floor.
next to the quilt.
Okay. So it's on a table.
No, it's just right next to it, like as in like so that I imagine kind of on the bed the quilt was there, folded, and then the hammer was on top.
Okay. Tim is gonna try and lift up the hammer and smash.
Yeah, just make me a
the
strength check.
sprites.
I like the idea of the hammer being on the pillow instead of a mint.
Maybe it smells minty.
That's 11.
Yeah, that'll do it. You hear shrieks of agony and relief as you smash the sprites, and the blanket goes all cold.
Good Friday night.
Yeah. He's like, well, I hope you enjoyed that, and he's listening out.
There's
to
nothing
hear
as
them.
quiet as the grave, because it is one.
Oh my goodness. Are you okay in there?
They
Speak
can't.
to me. Tell
They
me
don't.
something.
You pass a restless night, struggling with the consequences of your actions. And in the morning, everyone kind of gathers. You are roused by the smell of coffee. It's kind of a rich sort of nutty, almost cinnamon aroma. And there is a waft of delicious breakfast foods. And this is sort of you get the feeling that these scents are coming to you not just by coincidence, but they are being like wafted into your rooms. It's effectively Unigu's way of summoning you for the day.
Yeah, I mean, this is
Consider
much better.
myself
Yeah.
Kind of like sort of imagining Fizz doing the scent the float like along the smell
This
waves.
is much better than my mum yelling up the stairs at like 7 a.m. So I'll take this summoning for sure. Yeah.
So yeah, is anyone staying in bed, or are you all going to sort of answer the summons?
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
ready for a cup of
answering.
coffee.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a very impressive array sort of decked out, and you sort of feel like each one of you has been catered for. Kind of like, you know, Farid, you spot some of your favourite pastries that you sampled over the many weeks and months having coffee with Yi. There's whatever Fizz likes to eat. Yeah,
Anything really.
there's just sort of there's an enormous like fricassee that is basically just made up of bits of all of the other breakfast items just sort of fried up. There's a lower table with lots of sort of mushrooms and stuff, and there is a table with what's Mist's favourite food?
Oh, I feel like I wrote this down before, and I think it was like spaghetti or something.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I think I wrote this when I made the character. I picked a favorite food, and I think I wrote down spaghetti,
That's
but I don't
incredible.
remember.
Yeah, then there is like an enormous bowl of like spaghetti and meatballs.
Like plain,
Plain spaghetti. Wow, Miss Fancy. Okay, there's some plain spaghetti, but it's on a table that is absolutely studded with like vases and glasses full of water and just stuff that's placed like precariously close to the edge. So it's like part jungle gym, part breakfast table.
Nice. I knock off some of the vases on purpose. Like I just sit and look, and then I wait till somebody like looks me in the eye. And then I whilst looking them in the eye, just push it off the table.
I looked you in the eye with like half of that deep fried thing down my throat. Like,
Smash.
Yeah, and you don't have any teeth, do you, Fizz? does everyone think?
That's a very rude question to ask. I don't know. I'm gonna Google now. Do Kenku have?
I mean,
You crack on.
I sincerely hope not, because like I'm looking at your illustration and the frame right now, and if it's like that shot of one of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle costumes where it's like a big beak and then human-esque teeth gnashing away.
House rule that instead of teeth along their mouth, Kenku have rows of pharyngeal teeth at the back of their throats that shred whatever.
Oh,
gets
that's
past their huge feet.
disgusting.
That's a Reddit. Thanks, Reddit.
That's the most.
It feels like that's very fitting with you, like shoving lots of.
Yeah,
food
it's
in.
like one of those shredders.
Yes.
Yeah.
Paper shredder.
Oh. Somehow,
Like a wood chipper.
somehow, despite this being the 4th episode in Avernus, that's the most hellish thing that's come up thus far. But
Tim
Thirsty,
walks into the dining room looking decidedly tired, like he's not slept much at all, and he's got a kind of haunted look in his eyes. I could even suggest to the DM that he takes a point of exhaustion if he's up for going along with that.
yeah, all right.
Okay.
Yeah, you are.
I think I see Tim come in, and I'm like, "Oh, hello, Tim. Oh, let me get a blanket for you." And start smashing.
Are you actually doing that?
Yeah. Being
God,
polite.
No, don't do that.
In
The living things
in
there.
retrospect, you realise that perhaps Tim the Goblin was covered in a cold sweat rather than being too warm this morning. But there is little time to ponder it and discuss it any further, because Yi appears. He's just one instant he's not there, the next he is, and he already has a cup of coffee in his hand, and balanced on one knee he has a small collection of dainty pastries and just some cubes of melon. In fact, he's I was about to say he spawns in. He sort of materializes in the room just as you missed. Like, so before you were sort of staring off into the middle distance while pushing an enormous vase of flowers toward the brink of the table. But actually, as he materializes, he's making direct eye contact with you. And as it smashes on the floor, he just goes.
I was gonna say I
Oh.
pause when he materializes.
Okay, yeah.
And then I push it.
He- Amazing. He chuckles to himself in that kind of laughing into the void within sort of way that he has, and seems delighted. I'm glad you're enjoying the hospitality.
It's wonderful as always, Yi. Good cup of coffee. You know how I like it.
Yes. Hot,
Tim,
caffeinated. It's not so difficult to though.
It's the best.
Tim says to Inigo, "I'm so sorry. I really have to apologise. I did something absolutely terrible last night. I murdered your friends." And he's been carrying around the blanket with him the whole time.
No,
And he offers it up as like a...
no, that's what they're there for. Look, watch. He like flicks his fingers. And you feel the quilt sort of give a shake, and you hear a voice being like, "Oh no, oh seriously, are we back?" And then he just goes, and they smash all over again. The quilt goes cold in your fingers. He's like, "You see."
Tim like looks very shocked.
They live and die on my
And then he-
supplements, Tim.
I see. And Tim looks very thoughtful at this moment. Just thinking.
Tell me, I've not encountered one of your kind before. What happens when you get hit with a hammer?
Oh, well, I've never really experienced it, to be honest.
He
but,
gimbals down and just goes, "Shall we?"
I don't think you should do this. No.
Well, very well.
I-
Very well.
Oh, breakfast and a show.
Well, talking of hammers, who's up for some crime?
Oh, we've done crime before. It's a lot of fun. I'd be up for doing it.
You look skeptical. The one with the ears.
Crime is. I think crimes is right. Crime. I don't think that we should be doing crime.
He glances over to Morboss for clarification, saying, why not?
Well, in hell is anything really a crime? What's the worst that can happen?
He's got a point.
We go
there,
to
he's
hell
got a
again.
point.
Yeah, what are you gonna do? Send us to hell?
Yes, I have to say the deterrents for bad behaviour here aren't exactly robust.
Just,
I like to go on adventures, but I'm not sure crime is good.
Then who's up for a naughty adventure? He starts just
Oh boy.
shaking while he's holding in another sort of hyena-like cackle.
That sounds even better.
Can almost be like, out of interest, what could happen to us? Say if we were caught or, died.
Well, boss, are you sure you want the answer to that question?
He
No.
opens his hand. You hear the sound of sprites being reformed. He closes it. They shatter again. So many things. Over and over again.
Well, as long as we come back, I'm not really that bothered by it, I guess. I mean, I've been through a hard shit. But what is this Baphomet person
How
sort of
sweet.
like? Your friend?
Oh dear. I'm out of coffee. I'm out of coffee. Damn it.
Oh.
While all this is happening, I think Morboss after that just takes a very long drink of coffee because it refills, right? So he can just keep drinking at the same pace it refills, so he never has to take the cup back down. Also, I think when Yi appeared, Morboss would have just slyly put some melon cubes and items similar to what Yi has on his own plate.
You can have inspiration for that. Because
Aw.
frankly, anyone who willingly eats from the continental breakfast to impress someone else, when you could be having a bang on a fry
Yeah.
up.
Yeah, Tim asks, what was this Baphomet like then? Your friend? What can we expect? What kind of
We're
greeting?
not friends.
Oh yes, I remember that. You did say you weren't
More
friends.
dread colleagues.
Oh yes.
Well, surely you've heard of the Prince of Beasts. Yeah, you have. I would say, basically all of you are about as aware of Baphomet as you humanly are. You have all doubtless seen, Baphomet with the statue where he's got one hand up and one hand down. There are kids around him, and he's terrifying. He's basically one of the incarnations of Satan.
Yeah.
So you
Pretty
are
standard stuff then.
aware of this sort of reputation. Well, the Prince of Beasts, he lives in a palace. It's immaculate. As much as it pains me to say it, it puts this little pagoda to shame.
Don't be too hard on yourself, Yi. We had a lovely last night, comfy blankets, great bed and breakfast, Baphomet's got nothing on you.
Oh, that's too kind. But it's all right. We've all read the Yelp reviews and the Shriek reviews and the Help reviews and the Yelp reviews. The Yelp reviews are scathing, but nonetheless, his is the superior palace, I admit it. But of course, his is so much harder to access. Everything around his palace, the Liction, they call it, is twisted and reformed into a kind of maze, a kind of labyrinthine hellscape, I suppose you'd call it. If you go...
I love mazes.
Tim's nodding.
Well, a vast dangerous maze leads the way to the palace. There is a moat that itself twists and turns and goes back on itself like a labyrinth. And then, of course, you get to the palace. It is magnificent. And inside, anybody?
Oh,
A maze! A maze!
Very good. He rematerializes a bunch of vases as like a reward.
Tim looks a little bit like.
Oh, sorry, Tim. He materializes more ice sprites in front of you. These ones are outside of the blanket and are just like looking at you and kind of cowering.
These
Yeah.
mazes. Surely there's some kind of back door, right? We don't have to go through them, right?
Not even. Well, no, you pretty much have to go right through them.
All
I'm really good at mazes. I used to have a small. It was a small maze, but they used to put treats in it, and I used to have to like try and get the treats out. It was great.
Just spaghetti wound round like a Minotaur maze.
Like the twine in the Minotaur tail.
Yeah. He was like, good. Well then, as long as you don't die getting past any of the things that call the maze their home, you should make it to the palace. And as you guessed, yes, it is labyrinthine inside as well as out. In the middle of the courtyard is the hammer you see. I would teleport you there, but my power has no sway in his domain. The best I can do is put you at the border.
Would you say you have no power there? Sorry.
That was an attempt.
Why should I help you? Well, it is true that I cannot get you any further than the border, but once you have the hammer, you should be able to smash your way out, and I'll see what I can do, just like I did with the chisel. I suggest a distraction of sorts before seizing the hammer. If Baphomet's gaze falls on you, you will probably die.
Good.
It was a good thing we're very good at distractions then, isn't it, guys? Tim's looking
Basically all we've
around.
done so far, so
Yes. Yes.
Do you happen to have a map of the maze? How long is it going to take us?
Oh, there are no maps of the maze. Rumor has it Baphomet changes it at will. He likes to play games, as do we all.
Oh,
I love games.
Morbos just sputters into his coffee.
Delightful. I couldn't have picked a better crew. Now, obviously, all mazes have a flaw in that if you just hug one wall and walk, you'll eventually reach the middle.
Oh, I love hugging things. Oh, God.
It shouldn't take you more than a few years to walk the maze in such a fashion. Although hugging it might take longer. But
Let's not do
all
that.
right.
we can work it out when we get there. And it sounds like we've got a lot on our plate already, so maybe we shouldn't sit around.
right.
I'll be honest, I've eaten more pastry and deep fried meat than I could probably handle. So if we can get a move on, that'd be great.
Well, before you go, I shall grant you a few boons to make things more interesting, shall I?
Yeah.
Yes.
He
would be
flicks his hand, and before each of you spawns a pair of boots, including in front of Amelia, who is there and has been quietly eating some breakfast. And Cisco is on top of a meat table, just tearing into a carcass and like shrieking inside its chest cavity. You notice the slight sort of red crest that appeared on his head yesterday is if anything more vibrant and more prominent now than it was yesterday. He does not get boots, however. He is just there. Oh, did I say he gets boots? He gets some boots, sod it. But they're like those weird toe shoes that like fell runners
Ugh.
have. So you all feel a bit sick whenever you look at him.
Morbos looks at the boots. I was really hoping for better companions, and then looks at Yi and is like, I suppose these boots will do.
Are these boots made for walking?
Well, they're made for sneaking.
Oh, I'm really good
Um,
at sneaking.
If you but will the boots to soften your tread, they shall. But beware, they won't last forever. These boots are basically they have 5 charges. You can elect at any time to use the boots to give yourself advantage on a stealth roll, as long as your feet are
Are
involved.
they called a specific thing?
No,
Sorry.
Because he made them up.
no, it wasn't. That was a cheerful no. It wasn't a. How dare you
I'm
ask?
just gonna add it to my D&D Beyond, but I'll just write it here. What do they do? Sorry.
They are called yon boots
Yon
of great
boots?
muffling.
Okay.
I'm just gonna call them boots of sneak. I'll be honest.
And
Okay, well, let's see if yours work.
what do they do?
You have 5 charges. You can spend a charge to give yourself advantage on a stealth roll as long as your feet are somehow involved, which shouldn't be difficult. They're attached to you.
Yeah. How do
Yeah.
my boots look? Because I've got cat feet.
How do they look? I think it's fair to say that they are tailored to
Each and every one.
to each and every one of you. I'm kind of, correct me if I'm wrong, Dean, but I'm kind of imagining Farid having like a killer heel
Oh.
and like an incredible steeped arch,
Yeah,
on
yeah,
his.
absolutely.
Yes.
like
Sure.
proper like Rocky Horror.
Yeah.
Nice.
The ultimate
Stealth boots.
apparatus for stealth.
Yeah. So yeah, what?
I'm imagining like because Fizz I guess has like claws. Right? I'm just imagining these little caps on each of his claws.
Is that accurate?
I think they're basically flip flops.
Oh my god.
How are
What about?
flaps gonna help you with sneaking? They're like the noisiest type of
High heels. Why are you coming after me?
What about mists? Are they like kitten mittens?
Yeah.
Okay.
Booties.
Tim, what are
Heel
your
of my booty.
what are your
Mine
what are
have
yours
some
like?
caps for the claws actually.
Oh, like soft paws.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tim's are they're just dirty. Somehow
Okay.
they've disappeared and they've already got mud on them.
They're just upside down mushrooms.
Yeah.
No, they're like they're like Crocs.
Oh, no! With mushrooms, and you can like put the mushrooms in the holes.
Oh.
All the mushrooms.
More boss.
I think so. If Farid's are kind of let's say the designer name
Yeah.
boots, more bosses are very similar, but like they would cost a fraction of the price. They wouldn't have a label on.
They're like Bucci.
Yeah.
Incredible. Yeah, they give you sort of that gait where you aren't sure if somebody is going to keep walking in their heels or snap their ankle. That's just how you're walking around in them now.
So stealthy.
Amelia's are like they're kind of like a dress shoe with a nice Cuban heel.
Nice.
And Cisco's are like romper stomper boots.
Yeah.
They're like dino boots, but they're on his feet. They're not creepy fell runner shoes, because otherwise I wouldn't be able to continue with this session.
I don't know. Are they like Yoshi's boots?
No, these are like, you know when people get novelty dinosaur slippers.
Yeah. No.
It's like he's wearing novelty dinosaur slippers. Right, so that's the footwear sorted, and we
Yeah.
know what everyone's had for breakfast. So Yi sort of looks and goes, "Are you ready to go rob one of the lords of Hellblind?"
Yeah.
Morbos is like, I just need to do something in my room very quickly, and runs back, lays out the blanket, lifts the hammer, and then can't bring himself to do it, drops the hammer and runs back.
Oh,
Wow.
well, are we all set then, Morbos?
Yes.
Good. Well, I suppose I'll see you all later when you're ready to smash your way out of the Liction.
Smashing.
Come on,
He-
Cisco!
he sort of closes his eyes and puts his hands palm up on his knees, still sat cross-legged, and you hear him. It's like he's whispering to himself in 30 voices, but his lips aren't moving, and you hear the whisper sort of start to creep into your head. It is unsettling, nightmarish, and giggly, needless to say. This noise seems to sort of grow in intensity as the air seems to sort of get heavier and coalesce around not just you, but Yinagu, until it reaches a crescendo. You're not sure you can bear anymore, and then you are no longer in Yinagu's pavilion. You stand basically in a giant sort of scrubland, and before you see sort of thickets and hedge mazes and sort of brambles and smashed up bits of stone spreading for as far as the eye can see. This is like it's effectively a maze the size of an entire plane of existence, and you can see far off in the distance an absolutely magnificent looking palace. It's quite brutal architecture. It's kind of like if hell had architects, this would be like something the Stalinists built. It is very imposing, and it is not subtle, but it has a weight to it. That even though you know this is the building you're about to knock off, or possibly perish inside, you can't help but sort of look at it admiringly. And you are, before you spreads a maze leading to the Liction.
Let's go! And I start running in.
Oh goodness. Tim's gonna run after Mist.
Okay.
I think I'll just give a despairing look to Farid and Fizz and just begrudgingly kind of start trudging after the two running in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Farid, how are you sort of legging it to keep up, or?
Yeah, I just I'm gonna shake my head at the fact that I'm now stuck with this gang of hooligans to probably walk to my death. So
Yep.
I'm just begrudgingly chasing after.
Okay. And Fizz?
Can I just have a look at this the maze itself? Like
Mhm.
how tall is the maze?
You can't fly.
Oh, now you've
Wow.
figured that one out, have you? Good.
I'd say it's probably about 8 to 10 feet tall.
Can I try and climb it, please?
Yes. Make me a Dex acrobatics check, or a strength athletics. In fact, I would also like an athletics check from Morboss and Farid.
I've got a 15.
Okay.
16.
14.
Okay, all
Ooh,
right.
The whole set.
Yeah.
You don't get separated from Mist and Tim the Goblin, which is good.
Yeah.
You just about catch glimpses of them as they sort of zip round some corners, and you sort of all come to your first dead end in the maze, and you realise that Fizz is not with you. And Fizz, you start to climb. The brambles kind of nick at your feathers, and kind of thorns sort of prick at the palms of your hands, but you manage to make it on top of this particular wall of the maze, and you can sort of see out. You can see sort of the twists and turns of the maze for probably about 50 foot in front of you. Make me a perception check.
That's a 10.
Okay. You also start to hear a sort of high-pitched hissing noise coming from one place sort of near in front of you, and then a handful of other places. And you notice that there are a bunch of tiny, you'd call them demons, climbing up the walls themselves and just staring at you, and they are just like this hiss is building and building. These things are kind of like they've got a warty kind of green skin and a big hunched back, but apart from that, they are lean and like mean-looking things. They have long, pointy ears, these wickedly sharp, small horns, kind of like a Thompson's gazelle. They've got like these enormous black almond-shaped eyes and mouths that have no lips but are lined with razor, like no needle-like teeth, and they are all hissing at you, and they start pointing directly at you as well. And as the hissing starts to grow in volume beyond what you think is feasible for these creatures, you hear something far off bellow. You just hear this bestial roar that makes the ground beneath you shake.
That'll be the Minotaur, I guarantee it.
What are you gonna do?
Okay. I'm gonna like move as if I'm going back down the wall and want to like gauge their reaction. Just do it slowly so I can see how they react when I do that.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not going to make you roll for that. The hissing starts to subside as you begin to back down.
Right, they're an anti-cheat method. Got it. Okay. Is there any like sort of like fist size kind of stones lining the top of this that I could pick up?
You're on top of like a thicket of brambles.
Oh, sorry, it's a hedge maze, not
Yeah.
a. Oh,
well,
my
it's partly hedge, it's partly stone. The
Right,
bit
okay.
basically, it's like you get the feeling that this was previously like a land with its own, it could have been a city and its surrounding grounds or whatever, but it's all been twisted and corrupted to form this kind of hodgepodge maze.
Okay.
So the bit you're on happens to be vegetation.
I think in that case I'll rip off a stick,
Hmm.
and then I want to sort of wave it like that and see if their eyes follow it.
Okay, you make me a performance check, please.
Yeah, sure. +0. 18.
Wow.
Um,
There we go.
about 2/3 of them are like, but one thing sort of happens is that the hissing intensifies further, and you hear another bellow, and you see far off, like in the distance, you see. I mean, it doesn't look like a huge piece of stone from where you are, but that's just because it's very, very far away. There is a chunk of stone, like sort of the size of a small house, gets thrown across the maze and lands and rolls, flattening some of the pathways, which instantly start to coalesce and reform, albeit in a different pattern. And you swear that you can now feel under your feet large thudding footsteps approaching.
Okay, just before I get down, I would like to see what happens when I throw the stick.
Okay, make
God.
me a dex throw, please.
Just standard dex.
Yeah.
17.
Okay. A bunch of these things, like, again, I'd say it's actually more like 95% of them see the stick and leaping on top of the walls, they start chasing over it.
Yeah.
One of them, however, did not follow the stick and is barreling towards you. I want you to make me a dex saving throw, please.
Okay.
My goodness.
That's +2 is 19.
Ooh.
Nice.
Hey,
Wow.
I love the D&D Beyond
Bloody
dice.
hell.
They give me all of the ones
Mm.
I want.
If only it were enough.
Oh, God.
You get basically rugby tackled off the top. I'd say it's not really like a rugby tackle because this thing is tiny.
Mm.
It's more like you get hit in the chest by a cat, but it hits you with all the force of a cannonball. and you get knocked back to the ground. Let's just you and I roll for initiative.
Whoa!
Wow.
9.
I mean, I rolled a 4, so you do get to go first.
Hey. Okay. Oh, bums. Okay. That's fine. Hmm. Uh, can I just have a little look at this thing? You said it's like green and warty, right?
Yeah.
From my knowledge of, magical creatures and all that,
Hmm.
like, do I know enough about demons to like, have a general idea of how they're sort of categorized? Like,
You can make me an insight check.
insight. Okay. I rolled an 11.
This is a demon, yes.
Okay, good. Woo! That was a close one. All right, I'm gonna hit that sucker with a chromatic orb then.
Okay. Remind me what a chromatic orb does.
Chromatic orb. You hurl a 4-inch diameter sphere of energy at a creature that you can see within range. You choose either acid, cold, fire, lightning, poison, or thunder for the type of orb you create, and then you make a ranged spell attack against the target. If the attack hits, then the creature takes 3d8 damage of the type you chose.
All right. How fun.
Lottery.
Name your
Yeah.
damage type, please.
Well, this is what I was trying to work out.
Yes, I know.
I'm gonna go with cold.
Go with fire, yeah.
Okay.
Cold damage.
Yep. And I have to pass a saving throw, right?
No, I've got a hit throw.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, I get +6 to hit.
AC 13.
+6.
Oh, that's a crit 20, baby.
Woo,
Oh.
baby.
All
It's
right.
got- the bee glows. I love these dice.
Cool. Well, it does have damage resistance to cold, which would normally halve the damage, but you've rolled a crit, which would double the damage. So we're
Yay!
even. So roll me the damage.
I guess technically hell is cold.
Okay, it's given me 68, so 26, but half that because it was a crit. So half that for the damage resistance is 13.
Okay. That is enough to kill it, in fairness.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's a chromatic orb.
It kind of it bundles into you and then raises a clawed hand to sort of strike you in the face. And go on, describe it to me, Fizz.
Yeah, I think it does knock me over, and it's about to like leap on me, and I like sort of wince my eyes and shoot the chromatic orb, and it goes like down its throat or something, and it just
Oh,
immediately
God.
like its head explodes, and
Whoa.
it just sort of lands on me, and I'm like ah.
Yeah, you're sort of
I'd say
like
that 90%.
half pinned.
Yeah, I then like I push it off me and stand up and dust myself off and shake a bit, and then I'm like, oh man, I killed something.
I feel like 90% of your attacks are made while you're looking the other way with one
Yeah.
hand held out.
It's endearing.
Is this going to be the new acid splash?
Yeah. Well, acid splash, I just kind of lob it, right? Hope for the best. That's probably the most effective I've ever felt in combat.
Aww. It falls. The thing falls silent. The maze around you falls silent. Like you could hear a pin drop right now. In fact, everyone else, you just hear Fizz being like, heh, 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 and doing sort of weird breathing.
Did it knock me off the wall?
Yes.
So we're both off
Yep.
the wall now. Do you mind if I investigate the corpse and try and figure out what the hell this thing is
Yeah, go for it.
made up of?
Make me an investigation roll.
Okay. It's 4. It's a dirty 20.
Dirty 20. This is a quasit.
A Dante.
A
what, sorry?
quasit.
Quasit?
What's it?
These things are pretty weak, but they have strength in numbers and they are tricksy. These are sort of little shape-shifting, goblin-esque things that
I take affront to that.
they are imp-like. They actually have little swishy tails, kind of like imps. Yeah, they're very imp-like. They're kind of like if an imp was crossed with a grasshopper. So they are very, very creepy. they sort of work in trying to scare their opponents, so they hesitate, and that's when the attack comes, not from the front, but from the sides, from the other two closets you didn't even know were there.
Okay. I'll stay on the floor now. Yeah, I guess I don't really have any idea where the others went.
It was a dirty 20 you got, wasn't it?
On the investigation.
Okay, in
yeah.
that case, I will give you some. I'll tell you about its damage things. It is immune to poison.
Okay. Good thing I didn't.
You already know that it has resistance to cold.
Mhm.
I'm going to give you. It's got quite a lot of resistances. I'm going to give you 2 more of them. It's also resistant to fire and lightning.
Okay. Which leaves me with acid or thunder.
Who could possibly say? But yeah, the maze has gone very, very quiet. For the record, you kind of have landed around the corner from the rest of the party. So the rest of you will have just heard a brief scuffle and what sounded like Fizz. And now it's deathly quiet. You don't know if Fizz lives or not.
I'm gonna run around the corner to the sound, and I guess see Fizz on the floor.
Yeah.
With...
I've stood up at this point. I'm just sort of like.
Oh, you stood up.
Okay.
I'm
Probably
like, are you okay?
It's probably exploded on me a bit.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
are covered in sort of like ichor.
I think I'm just sort of looking at you like.
I just knock over a vase really slow.
Apparently
Take
is
the
here.
vases with you.
No, there are vases in the maze. Why not?
Yeah, of course there are,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
It's more like
I can't.
you know how I said that this was like a previously inhabited area that had been kind of appropriated to form this maze. You actually kind of have to reach into another bramble hedge, but you managed to dislodge a vase and just like drag it out. So it's more like you shove it onto the floor. But yes, you managed to find some crockery to smash.
I think that's comforting to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's return to
Yeah,
normality a little.
it kind of brings you back to
Um,
yourself a little.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, okay. So we can't go up on top of the maze. You're welcome. Learn that
yeah,
bit.
that's the whole point of a maze, Fizz.
Well, okay, all right. Well, now we know that for sure. Now we know that's being enforced. I'd like to pick up. How heavy is the corpse?
It's not heavy at all.
Yeah, I think I'm just gonna drape it around me, like, and hope that the smell means that they won't attack me.
Wow.
Or are you
Not.
dragging the smell of a corpse, which, like, you know the way ants can apparently smell where their dead brethren are?
Yes, it's true. They can. You kill an ant, others will come collect it.
Oh, that's annoying.
Oh.
I kill bugs as a warning.
It's ants are like a hydra. They just
Having the averse
2 more pop up in its place, and then admittedly cart the head of the first one home. It's not a great metaphor, but in fairness, I've kind of been focusing on this session rather than anything else recently. I didn't mean it like that.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna risk it. I'm gonna be like, you know, those horrible boar skins in Princess Mononoke, just sort of like going
Yeah.
around. Yeah, gonna do that.
Wow.
Just dragging it around with me.
Wow.
Hope for the
Mhm.
best.
Tim goes up to Fizz and he says, "Is this some new style you've got going there, Fizz? I'd say it's a bit unconventional, but
Do you want in, Tim?
I don't know really morally how I feel about walking around with a corpse around me, but I don't, I suppose we could take turns.
No, you say the word. I'll sort you out.
Okay. Do
All right.
we?
I think I reach back because I've got like the arms draped over my shoulders
Mhm.
like a wolf nose or something. I reach back and just sort of smear my hand in some blood and just rub it over the head of
Oh
Tim.
yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. Tim
It
takes
stinks.
it. Yeah. Well, it's a
Yeah.
standard.
Yeah.
standard thing.
Um,
Tim looks around and says, "Wait, so where do we think we need to go exactly? We can't go up and over, so anyone got any ideas, or we could just keep walking?"
I'd say let's just keep walking. You know, like you've killed something. I mean, what did you see up there, Fizz? And any indication to the right way?
Well, I mean, there was that. I'm sure everybody heard that big bellowing noise, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, it seems like
probably
some kind
avoid that.
Well, you say that,
I
Bud,
mean-
but I mean, given my history as an adventurer and the knowledge that I've obtained, I usually find that if you go towards the thing that's most likely to kill you, you're actually going in the right direction. So why don't we head that way and just hope for the best?
I'm going to give you inspiration
it
for that.
sounds awful, but
Finally.
Sorry, what was that, Mist?
I was just gonna say it sounds like a terrible idea, but I think he's making the right call.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Right,
don't certainly have any other ideas, so
I'll let you lead the way. I will be right behind you.
Okay.
I have an idea.
Oh no.
It's a good one. Shut up. Birdman, were you responsible for the house that went flying overhead? Of course you were. I don't need to ask that.
Oh, hold on now. I wasn't responsible for I didn't throw it myself, but
No.
I think it was maybe thrown at me. You know.
I have a plan. You're welcome. And without saying anything more, can I cast Invoke Duplicity, please? So as an action, I can use Channel Divinity to create an illusion of myself that lasts for a minute.
Mhm.
It appears within 30 feet of me, and I can move it around as long as it remains within 120 feet. And what I'd like to do is get my illusion to climb on top of the maze and motion in a way that would encourage whatever is at the center of this maze or the other end of this maze to throw a house again.
I start cutting on and I'm like, grab a stick and wave it around.
Okay, yeah, you can do that.
Cool. So yeah, I want to do that. I want to cast Invoke Duplicity. I want my clone to climb up on top of the maze and have a house thrown at it.
Okay.
I think I grabbed the rest of the group and I'm like, maybe we should just step back a little bit.
Okay.
oh goodness, rolling a lot of
You.
dice.
It was only two. Before your false image has even gained the top of the maze, you hear the hissing start as the quasits kind of are alerted to your presence, and it starts again. And Fizz, even down here, you're struck by how thunderously loud it is. It even seems to echo off the walls and kind of pressurize the air around you. It's a really unsettling sort of noise that just keeps growing and growing and growing and growing. And sure enough, you hear the bellow of some far-off monster that throws a two-bed apartment at you. No, it throws another chunk of stone the size of a small house.
Maisonette.
It throws a maze. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was about to say it throws a semi-detached, but if it's throwing it, it has to be fully detached, doesn't it? Oh wow!
There was a studio flat.
What kind of value could we put on this?
Nothing that's obtainable.
It's very advanced to play it because
And so is it.
it just rolled a nat 20.
Wow!
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, the exact spot where the false image is just gets like it gets smashed in by this massive boulder that continues to scud along the ground, forming like a massive like anime trench that's about 60 foot long, leading back out towards the edge of the maze and beyond. And you hear another bellowing, and now you start to hear footsteps really cascading towards you, to the point where you...
Did it take out any of the hedges ahead of us?
Let's find out.
It's getting better at it. His aim is quite good, I must
Yeah,
say.
it takes out... It doesn't buy you much ground, but it takes out 3 sort of concentric sort of rings of maze, if you follow me. You basically manage to cheat your way through 3 walls. If you can make it through in the time it takes for it to close up again.
Yeah, Morbos is immediately like, well, come on then.
Mm.
And
Yeah, it starts
quickly
bringing through.
starts to.
So,
I saw how quickly they reformed last time, and I'm like, oh, okay.
okay, so strength athletics or dex acrobatics checks from everyone, please, to make it through.
Well, I'm exhausted, so I'm rolling with
Wah,
disadvantage.
wah.
Oh, goodness.
Whose fault was that?
Hey,
I got
I'm just
I got a
role-playing.
dirty 20.
Lovely.
I got 23.
Lovely.
I think I'll use
Ooh.
my inspiration
Yep, sure.
here. Oh, I rolled exactly the same thing. Okay, I rolled 7.
Okay.
I also rolled 7. That's a 9.
Okie dokie. Amelia's fine. She's very quiet today, but she's fine.
Cisco?
Chilling, you know.
Not so much with Cisco. So, so Farid and what did you get, Fizz?
12.
Okay. All right, I'll do it. Farid and Mist, they sort of they practically stroll through together, and it looks like they're kind of, their hedge is closing up behind them as if it was waiting for them to pass through. It's almost regal. Fizz sort of like scrabbles through at the end, just about manages to
I grabbed my hat just before I
to get through. Yeah, he grabs his hitherto unmentioned bird hat and puts it back on his head.
Woo! That was close.
I'm imagining like a tiny little top hat for some reason.
Yeah, you've never noticed it because it's that small. It just sits below my
Wow.
face.
It's a thimble.
Morboss, Tim, and Cisco are not so lucky. Morboss and Tim, you feel sort of creeping tendrils of sort of bramble reach underneath your feet and pick you up as others just sort of mesh around you and encase you, basically. You're inside one of the maze's walls. Cisco's head is inside the maze. So basically the two of you are just sort of suspended, sort of looking at each other, not really able to move, and Cisco is just stuck in there.
Like a plaque on a wall.
Yeah. Make me a perception
The other
check,
way around.
please, both of you.
I think I'll specify here as well. I think part of this will be because obviously I had boots that were similar to Farid's because I think Morboss is trying to, but he's clearly not as confident in moving in those same
Yeah.
boots. Whereas Farid, knows how to walk in heels. Morboss not as
Yeah.
accustomed.
In fact, you had to check that one of the heels hadn't come unstuck and had started flapping. But yeah, perception check,
Classic.
please, from Tim and Morboss.
Perception.
I rolled a nat
8.
1.
Nat 1.
Oh.
Ugh.
Or 1 and a 2,
And
actually.
what was
so-
that from
Oh,
Morboss?
An 8.
Okay. Morboss. You're like, I can understand why Cisco looks unhappy. He's stuck in a maze. I'm not exactly having a great time. He's stuck in a hedgerow. His eyes are they have a strange glazed over look to them. His pupils are absolutely tiny, and he is salivating very, very heavily, and he just seems sort of nervous and jittery. You think he's just incredibly stressed. He's having a stress reaction to the situation. Tim, you notice this, and you are worried that he is going to start panicking and potentially injure himself if you don't try and either pet him or talk to him or do something to calm him down.
Okay. Yeah. Tim is going to. I mean, he can't move, can he?
He can try.
He's stuck. Yeah. Tim's going to start wriggling to try and free himself, and going, Cisco, calm down. Come on, think of nice things. Remember when you were eating that person? You really enjoyed it, didn't you?
Okay.
Can I check which maze wall did they get stuck in? Because I'm assuming that like Farid and I managed to get through all like 3 maze walls.
Yeah, you
or
went
whatever.
through all 3. They're stuck in the 3rd. So Cisco is kind of in the alleyway between the 2nd and 3rd. The other 2 are stuck like in the 3rd. So you're kind of you're looking at this hedge, and you can just hear a muffled Tim and be like, whoa, whoa, whoa. And then
That's all I normally hear anyway.
the hedge gives an enormous lurch. What's your AC, Tim?
My AC is 12.
Okay, it's not quite enough then. The sort of the vegetation kind of spreading across Tim's chest, not Tim's chest, Cisco's chest, kind of keeps him back, but he lunges at you and tries to take a bite out of Tim the Goblin, and you see him kind of like just trying to get his way free, but he is looking at you very intently, like he wants to eat you.
Can I? Sorry.
Cisco, come on. We've learnt not to do that, haven't we? We've learnt not to bite
He tries
him.
again and misses a second time.
Can I use my cat's claws and try and free the guys from the hedge?
Yes.
By slashing at the
Yeah,
hedge.
I was gonna say, can I pull out the scimitar and like start just like hacking away at it as
Yeah,
well?
good idea, gang. I acid splash.
Oh, Lord.
Okay, can I have can I have attacks from Mist and Farid, please?
Nat 20!
It's pretty great.
What am I rolling? Sorry?
It will
Oh
be
god, doesn't matter. I got nat 1.
Oh, wow.
Oh, no, with the scimitar.
With
Oh,
the
God,
scimitar.
okay. Roll damage, please, for the scimitar.
Oh no.
And
Acid
20
splash is
and
the
that one.
dexterity.
That's 7 damage.
okay, let's see. Odd number, even number. Tim, you take 7 points of damage. As Furry just goes like and sort of whomps you in the side with the scimitar. Did you say it was a dex saving throw, Fizz?
Dex 14.
Christ. Can everyone make me a dexterity saving throw, please? No, not everyone. Tim and Morboss. I'll do it for Cisco. Okay.
Everyone.
That's 10. 10.
16.
Okay.
Oh,
What's the damage on Acid Splash?
Just a 1.
Okay, roll it.
It's a 2.
Okay, you take 2 more points of damage, Tim.
Okay.
I can't
Tim
believe we're
is
killing Tim.
Tim is on 7
Oh,
health
he's
now.
fine.
Okay.
Cisco rolled a nat 20. Cisco not only tears free from the
So did I.
to get out of the way of the acid. Sorry, yeah. What?
No. Oh,
Claws.
because I was doing the claws.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah. No. Sorry. Yes. So you have cut Morboss and Tim the Goblin free. You
Okay.
kind of have to help Tim down because Tim's taken quite a bit of damage over the last few seconds. Cisco, in his like attempts to get away from the acid, sort of tore himself back through the maze, and then seeing that there is a large opening from your claw work and Farid's somewhat haphazard scimitar swinging, he springs through and lands in the gap between all of you. You notice he looks wired. He is sniffing the air and salivating again, just kind of like.
I don't know what's been going on with him recently. He's been all over the place, really. I don't know what this new form of puberty is doing to him, but
Tim, when did you learn about puberty?
the frogs told me about it. Do you
Oh,
remember
God.
when I told you?
God.
You don't want to know about frog puberty.
Oh, but I'm waiting for him to lay his frog spawn now.
Tim, do you want to be in the papoose? Are you quite hurt?
Yeah, someone seemed to hit me with a scimitar. I don't know where that came
Oh, who
from.
did that?
And then,
No idea.
seemingly out of nowhere, I was splattered by acid as well. It's
Oh,
very
Farid.
unfortunate.
This maze is cursed. It's the maze. You never know what's coming out of it.
Must be.
Well, I'm gonna plop Tim in the papoose unless he
Yeah,
says
Tim will
otherwise.
go in the
Okay.
caboose.
Cisco starts nuzzling at the corpse of the Quasit that is around your neck, Fizz. And you see he's sort of like, he starts craning up towards it with his head.
No, I got this myself. You can get your own.
He gives like a low hiss.
Call your weird little dino off.
Now, Cisco, come on, we learned how to share.
Cisco pretends to ignore you and sort of like he scratches an itch on his hind leg with like his front teeth.
It's very troublesome at the moment. Going through a tough time. We'll get through it. It's all right.
But yeah, you are now. You find yourselves in sort of a new corridor of the maze, and unlike the others, which have all of these branching paths, kind of leading off rather, this one just has sort of one main bit. It's almost like you're in a linking tunnel. So it's a tunnel that's kind of a dead end at both ends. Well, that's not true. There is. Okay. It's basically a long corridor. There is one entrance which you would have come through if you had gone through the maze conventionally, and then there is an exit which is a lot broader. You reckon all of you could walk shoulder to shoulder. It is clearly leading to a new segment of the maze.
All right, Fizz, do you want to lead the way?
Why am I leading the way?
You're a fearless leader.
Right, yeah. How about we get the bloke who accidentally stabbed someone in the face with a scimitar to go first, eh?
Wait, what?
I'm not the one with the wild acid splash and going everywhere.
I'm like, come on, guys, stop fighting, and I just go ahead.
Nice.
We'll do it side by side.
Will we?
And can I convince the rest of the team to do it side by side if we can all fit through together?
Won't be convincing me, mate.
Make me a persuasion check. Everyone else make me a wisdom insight check.
16.
16.
11.
5.
That is insight. Yeah, that is a 8.
Okay. Everyone else is like, yeah, side by side, we're all in this together. And Amelia's there being like, yeah, we've got to stick together on adventures like this. If we start arguing, we're not going to get anywhere except hurt. Fizz is Fizz. Fizz is like, wow, you've told me something, but I'm going to deny that it's empirically true. Fizz is not sold on the idea of going of Wizard of Ozzing forward.
And he's a
I
wizard.
know.
Yeah.
He finds it derivative and insulting.
All right. Well, if we're
Class is not your costume.
whatever Fizz decides to do, if we're passing through the entrance side by side, as we pass through the entrance, Morboss just slightly drops back.
So Tim, Mist, and
Nice.
Farid all lead the way.
Exactly,
Oh my god. Anyone who
Yeah, at least I was vocal about it.
Miss Tim and Farid, just make me perception checks, please. And Morboss, do me a stealth check.
Stealth.
That's 5.
Where's perception?
It's 14 for stealth.
Wow.
Mist?
Oh, mine's actually, I got a 5.
Okay.
I also got a 5.
What a great guy Morboss is. What a natural leader.
Yeah.
God, it's
I really wish I could cast Invoke Duplicity again and just have a clone of me walking.
you know what, you all
close to
feel
them.
so much better knowing that Morboss is by your side, with you every step of the way. None of you notice that he has dropped back to walk just 2 steps in front of the surly Kenku, who is still being followed closely by a wired-looking clawfoot. You emerge into a large open expanse, which feels unusual for a maze. You're like, where's the hellish peril in this? And then you realise that it's directly in front of you, because this part of the hedge is bordered by, again, sort of like, there's stone now. There's sort of these big stone walls with, Morboss, did you say you can read Infernal?
Yeah.
Alongside there is a sort of infernal inscription that just reads anti-climb paint. And ahead of you, this open expanse is separated by a large ravine from which sulphurous smoke is rising. and there is a rickety rope bridge ahead of you.
Hey, rickety rope
It
bridge.
is ominous, it is cliched, and it is intimidating.
The journey to retrieve Baphomet's hammer has only just begun, and the gang has already gotten themselves into a lot of trouble. Will the Dungeonbreakers make it across the rickety rope bridge alive? Will they make it through the maze unscathed? And will more of us ever learn to walk in heels? The answers to all these questions and more on next week's episode of Dungeonbreaker. In the meantime, why not hit that subscribe button to make sure you don't miss out on any future episodes, and check out some of the other videos on screen now.